Hello everyone, welcome back to Pris Corner with me Pris. I hope you're okay wherever you are. Today on What's We Or Not episodes, I am discussing another new Japanese comic / manga series titled School Hotel or Gakuen Hotel. Series was made by Satoshi Mori, which only contained 2 volumes. So this is also a short series from the same author. And if you want to know more about this series, I will leave the details in the link in the description box below. And if you want to support me further, I will leave the link in the description box below as well. So, I already concluded this series is based off 85% real, 5% gray, and 10% fantasy. As per usual, we'll start with the fantasy part, then move on to the gray area, and lastly on the real part. So, let's just dive right in. So, for the fantasy part, we'll start off with our main protagonist, Toriko-chan. For example, like you already know, she is the saint of Kate in high school. Basically, everyone dumping course or basically even homeworks to her. I guess what makes me wonder is just like how she managed to basically have time to finish all those works and basically return them back to them, and how she managed to basically just kind of accepting those things without even basically a slightest doubt or basically thinking like, why do I have to do this, and she only basically managed to realize that now, which makes me wonder because for my observation it seems like she already done it for quite a few years, I guess, because she seemed get used to it or pretty used to it. That's the first one. And then the second one is like the traits of the other main cast, like Kicho, that very cute but apparently really family oriented, and type of people kind of really different from her image that's really innocent, because I guess she's not really that innocent because she's quite a little bit calculated, even though she doesn't realize that because it happened unconsciously. And then Misutora, that a gentle giant even though he seems scary, and also Tatsumi, who has an appearance like a girl's even though he is a boy. I think those kind of traits is pretty kind of odd, but I mean, like, you don't meet that kind of things really often, I guess, in real life. That's why I think they only exist in the comics, I guess, or webtoon, rather than in real life. And then, of course, our male protagonist, for example, Ozuka Mizuchi, like, I think he's come from a rich family, and I think it's not very often that you see the children from the rich family kind of disobey or even rebel to their parents. And most of the time they go to the boarding school or an elite school, I guess, even though I think Karen is some kind of elite, but it seems pretty normal high school rather than elite school, I guess. The atmosphere is kind of different from my opinion. So let's just call it as a normal high school, which I think is pretty weird that basically Mitsuchi basically disobey his parents and then go into this school. But I think because of the incident, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Or maybe they just moved in a hurry, thought they moved kind of in this high school, because I think there's a lot more other options, I guess, than public school. But I don't meet that kind of things very often, which in my experience, so that's why I find it odd. That's why I put it in the fantasy part. And of course, the other supporting cast, the other characters that don't even have a name or a face, I think the only one who is kind, I guess, is the one that asked Toriko-chan to accompany her because he wants to confess to Misunachi sensei. But the other supporting cast is so bad, which make me wonder, like, there should be another supporting cast that seems a little bit kind, if it's just only 1 or 2 surrounding the main cast, because it's pretty weird if not. But I guess because of the pages, but overall it's still a pretty good series, even though it's only short. That, well, you kind of have to basically accepting things like that. It cannot be helped. I think For me, like, the things are kind of working out in the end, and still a fantasy part, but it's not really fantasy, I guess. Well, things working out too well, but it's not really that well like the other shoujo manga that seem really clear line, really basically just happy end and close the book type of thing. That's why, but most of the other problems kind of fixing itself very quickly, or maybe it's supposed to be like that. But again, I don't really know. I guess I should put this in the gray area, so we're gonna move on to gray area, I guess. I think the fantasy part already end there. I'm a little bit sorry, but I think I will put it, the ending is kind of a little bit in the gray area, because I'm kind of confused whether I put it in the fantasy part or in the gray area, because things working too well, I think that's put in the fantasy part, but for the gray area, it's like the ending is kind of a little bit off. It's not like a clear line, happy ending and close the book like the other shoujo mangas. It's kind of leave you more kind of if you want to have a sequel of it, even though it doesn't have a sequel, but it's kind of show you that life still move on, and we take step by step into it. It's not like clear line, well, happy ending and done, you know. Yeah, we can basically still like hope that this relationship gonna progress even further, especially because Mitsutora and Kicho couple doesn't really get explored that much, and there already has a spark within it, which I think pretty relatable to real life, because sometimes you cannot always see the end of the stories really quickly, you know. You just have to enjoying it and enjoying the process, I guess, enjoying the journey. And that's what means to enjoy the life, isn't it? And also about the concept of the school hotel itself is pretty nice, like a safe space where you can be your true self, and I guess people can make that, but it's still possible to make. But if they make it at night, would not it be too dangerous for them basically to stay at school at night, especially not only because of supernatural things, but of course for safety reasons, like thief, burglary or something like that, or maybe the school have kind of a good security system. I don't really know, but it's pretty weird for you to basically hanging around in the school at night, which that's why I put it in gray, because I kind of basically confused about it, how basically they managed to open up at night, even though basically I think Mizunaji sensei is the owner of the school hotel itself, but he's only a teacher anyway. Maybe because Mitsuchi's father is really that influential, that's why it's okay. Because I remember Mitsuchi has the spare key of the master key that basically can open any rooms in the school. So I think his father is really that influential. And the funny thing, there isn't basically a security officer or a guard that basically patrol the school. That's, I think, a little bit missed in there, but okay. But maybe because it's already being settled or make an arrangement about it, so that's why the security maybe just patrolling around the other area, I guess, and not that area. And I guess that's all for the group area. And then lastly, we move on to the real part. I guess the real part of the series is basically the struggle that the main cast and also the supporting characters facing. Like, for example, Hayase, that she's still, I guess she is in a relationship with her senpai, and she kind of basically confused why her senpai basically always see her as calm and collected, even though she is not really that calm, you know. She is trying to be mature, and she is afraid that senpai will thought of her as annoying or immature. That's why she's trying so hard, and apparently what they need is just like a good communications and transparency in order to fix that problem, I guess. And also the other struggle that the main cast already experiences, Tatsumi, with his complex of his feminine face. Basically, he has a complex with his feminine face because he gets teased a lot, because his face seems like a girl, even though he doesn't want to be treated like that. And also about Kicho and Mitsutora, that they always basically want to maybe spending time together, but people always basically try to separate them because they think like, well, they don't basically deserve to be with one another in some ways because they are pretty different, which I think possibly could happen. Sometimes people always say like, you don't deserve him or her because they are better than you and you basically at a different class or at a different level from them. I guess it's pretty normal, even though I don't know it's still common nowadays or not, but well, that's happened during my puberty, so or during my teenager age, so I can basically have a testimony about that. And also basically the struggle of our main protagonist, like Toriko-chan, that trying to become authentic or try to basically express her true self, and try to basically remove her fear of basically being I guess like being hated by the other people, because she always trying to be nice because she wants acknowledgement from other people, and she basically try to deal with it, try to basically let go, because no matter what you do, people sometimes say what they want to say, and they sometimes forget what good deeds that you did to them. Basically, no matter how kind you are to them, sometimes they forget your kindness, and it's okay to be your true self, it's okay to be yourself, and to say no when you want to say no, and not basically suppress your feeling or bottle up your feelings. And for Mitsuchi, just like, I guess if he wants to get what he wants, he needs to open up himself a little and basically give a chance to people to come closer to him, Well, because, that's life, you need to sometimes to take a risk a little bit and not basically to guard it up or having too many guard or having a really strong barrier, I guess. Because if you want a meaningful relationship, you need to open up a bit. If not, you're not gonna get it. It's just the way it is, I guess. I think the struggle is pretty real, and I think the important quote from this series, again, I'm only paraphrasing, so I think like Mizunachi sensei ever basically talk about basically the struggle. He always basically looked down on the other student because like the struggle is not really that big, because when you go into the adulthood, it would become more harder for you, and it's not as basically simple when you're still in school, I guess. The struggle that you're facing is a little bit more complicated and a little bit more harsh even. But apparently he also realized that, even though I think that point is true, but he also realized that, your problem cannot be simply just brush off, or just basically people can saying like, it's an easy thing, why do you need to worry about that? You cannot brush it off or basically brush it off under the rug or something else like that, because apparently the struggle is pretty real. And for the people who basically at the teenager age, I guess, and experience those kind of thing, those problems are really serious as the adult problems that the older people basically have to face in their life. So basically it's the same, the difficulty is the same, because when we are facing the problem, we always basically feel small, and the problem is seem bigger than maybe the problem actually is, because we get swayed by emotions, and because we don't know what to do, and basically the anxiety and the panic basically settles in. So basically you cannot compare that, because in the end we're feeling the same, whether you're an adult or basically you're still in teenager, it's the same thing, because you feel the same. That's the problem is difficult, even though basically if you basically kind of look back into your memories or into your past memories, the problem that you faced when you were a child seem like nothing, but at the time when you're facing it, it's really difficult. So that's why basically you have to learn not to judge people and just to basically belittle someone else's problems, because it maybe seem easier to you now, but maybe for the people who are going through that problem now is not that easy as you might see, I guess, or as the same as your opinion. Like, it doesn't seem as easy as that, because, well, it's just a different phase, I guess. That's what makes it different. But no matter what, if you facing the problem, of course you're gonna feel difficult about it. You're gonna feel that the problem is difficult even though it's not, when you're looking back someday in the future. I know this sounds so confusing, but I hope you get what I'm trying to say here. Again, I'm sorry if there is wrong grammar or mispronunciations. I'm trying to basically convey it the best that I can. But yeah, I hope you can understand what I'm trying to say. I hope you get it. And again, I think for our What's Real Not episode is gonna end here. And thank you for listening. Hope you are enjoying my contents. And also don't forget to follow me on Instagram to know what kind of contents that I'm gonna be uploading. And don't forget to stay tuned on my KoFi Page and also on any other podcast platform that you listen in. And that's all. Hope to see you soon. Bye bye.